Welcome everyone to Bonifabcustom. Today I'm going to show you how I build a gigantic forge. This one's going to be 36 inches long. Now, since we've been getting into making some swords and some longer forgings, we need something to accommodate that. And that's why I'm going to make this build. Let's get right into it. So the basic shape of this forge is it's going to be 36 inches long and the outside is going to be about 15 inches. So 15 by 15 by 36 inches long. Now I chose 36 inches because that's what an equal amount of the fire bricks fit inside the oven. Now I'm going to be using 3 of my ribbon burners to power this thing. And I'm not sure if I'm going to plumb them all together or run separate tanks to run this gigantic forge. So let's make some drawings up and let's take a look at how we're going to build this gigantic forge. So for this giant forge, I ordered up some material because my shear won't do anything that wide. So I got 4 pieces of 3/16 plate, 15 inches wide by 36 inches long. And right here I have 3 of them because all I need right now is to make the bottom and the 2 sides and square everything up before I put anything to do with before I do anything with the top of the forge. So let's get this squared up and tacked so we can start this gigantic forge. Now that I tacked it all up, I'm going to start with the front face, and for this gigantic forge I'm going to go with 1/2 inch thick material. I usually put 1/4 inch. On here you might not need to go 1/2 inch, maybe 3/8, but I'm going to go all out and put 1/2 inch material on the front because I want to put a door on the front or some sort of, it might be blocks, bricks, or maybe I'm going to make an actual door. But I don't want this front edge to move with all that extreme heat coming out of it. So I cut it at just over 15 inches, so 15 1/4 to compensate for the sides, because the sides are actually over the 15 inch. It's 15 inch on the inside, not the outside. So I put it there, sheared it up, looks good, and I'm gonna tack weld this. And then I'm going to cut one for the top here, and I'll tack weld that in place also. now it's all tacked up, and I'm gonna start fully welding these fronts. I'm gonna stand it up and I'm gonna do a weld on the inside on all of it, and then I'll start with the outside after that. And once it's fully welded, then we can get into putting the refractory inside and the brick. Now that I have it completely welded inside and outside, and I ground the welds off the front because I want to put a door, some sort of door on the front, I'm going to start with the bottom, and I'm going to put my refractory cloth. It's about 1 inch in thickness, and I'm going to put that on the base, and then I can start laying my first the row of bricks for the bottom of the forge. Now, whenever you're working with cloth refractory, it's always a good thing to have a respirator on, because we don't want those fibers into our lungs. They can be very harmful. So let's roll out some. I'll put my mask on and then start with the base of the forge. Now we have our refractory cloth on the bottom. We're going to start laying down bricks inside. So now I got this first layer, the bottom. One of them I had to trim a little bit to get inside there. It was a little bit tight. So you could cut these fire bricks with just a diamond blade. So now I have these in here, and to get my second set of bricks, which is the side bricks, I need to put some refractory on the side here. So I'm going to cut that out for both sides, and then I'm going to have a little gap here, so I'm going to want to fill all that in with this refractory cloth also. So I have a refractory in there, and now I have the refractory bricks inside, and I need a couple of ones in between to be cut, because I put that refractory cloth on the front and back, so it's going to take up a little bit of space. But I want this to be cut nice and tight so it really squeezes that refractory cloth on both sides. gonna get ready for putting in the refractory, and I changed my plan a little bit on how I'm gonna put this refractory on here. Now, I put some support by putting some angle iron, and I have it clamped with these clamps here. So it's gonna support that, the weight of the refractory cement. And on the bottom, I also put some aluminum, and I spread it to the same width as the top of this refractory. And what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna make this refractory in 3 sections. Each one is gonna house a burner. So what I'm gonna do next is I have some metal plate, and 8 inches by 12 inches. And all I'm gonna do with this is I'm gonna put it in here. It's gonna sit right on top. And then I have this stop here for the refractory. It's gonna fit right inside here. And now I have this piece sectioned off. So what I'm gonna do is I will get my mold or my template for my burner, and I'll place it inside there. And then I'll mix up some refractory and I'll pour it all inside here. And now this will be a separate section. And then I'll pull this out and go on to the center and go on to the last part here. So that's my thought on this giant forge. So I'm gonna start with this one here and then work my way down. Thank you everyone for watching Bonifabcustom as we went through our first part of our monster forge build. Stay tuned for the next part as we do our refractory on top and fit in our burners. Thanks again for all your support, and don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you later on with part 2 of the monster forge.